Hey, Kingdom Dream Chasers. So excited to kick off the first episode in the series that we introduced last week, which is all about lead generation. And really, more importantly, is what are the typical problems that I find working with Christian businesswomen that in their lead generating process. So sometimes we tend to just think about leads as a person, a lead, a new prospect, someone who's coming around our space might be interested in what we have to offer. And if they've indicated in any way, then there may be a lead, right? They're a lead. A lead just means someone potentially of interest. But unfortunately, what I often find is if I ask women, well, what is the journey that she walks through with you? I usually get a lot of blank stares. Okay. Now, I've been there. I'm not passing judgment. What I'm trying to get you to see is that from your customer's perspective, we want to be thinking from her perspective, what is the process that she goes through walking with you? So, as we introduce this series about a lead generating system, every business, if they're going to be successful, has a lead generating system. They might not know what it is, but they have one. All right. Their lead generating system is often they've got the lights on and the open sign out if they're a storefront, right? Um, they might put an ad in the newspaper. They might advertise on social media. All right. If you're an online business, you are definitely advertising on social media and you might have different places where you advertise. It's the same idea virtually. You're turning your lights on and putting your open sign out. Okay. And so doing that is the beginning of your lead generating system. It is the process by which you're using to amplify your message so that they know it, they can see you, and so that they start coming closer to you. But where the system comes in is they need to be going on a journey with you. No one wants to just come into your space and suddenly be, uh, hey, you want to go out to dinner? No, they want a conversation first. They want to talk to you first. They want to know that you know who they are. They want to know you know their language. They want to know they know what you're struggling with. They want to see that you're going to be someone who's trustworthy, okay? And so if there are bumps, problems, empty spaces in that journey, you're going to have a much harder time having an actual sales conversation at the right time. So the lead generating process is the thing that we use to warm up the lead, meaning we give value, we give trust, and we put the lead in a position where now, if they keep coming along the journey with us, they are quite interested and trusting us and what we have to offer. Okay, that's the system. But unfortunately, there's usually, and it's actually good news, if there's a hole somewhere in the system or a misconnect somewhere in the system, guess what? You get to plug up the hole, right? You get to figure out why your wonderful product and the service that you offer isn't resonating. It's not that it isn't, it's just that we've missed the customer's perspective on the journey to building trust and getting to see if they're interested. Okay? So that's what we're talking about. And I'm going to briefly go through our 4 episodes, which number one, that was the overview from last week. All right. I go into more detail, but not to be too repetitive. So I'm going to briefly go through. We're going to be talking about what is a trust ladder. So looking at that customer journey from her perspective, the customer's perspective. What is a trust ladder? Why do you need one? What happens if you're trying to reach the wrong people, or you're too vague? What happens if there is a step missing or 2 steps missing in your trust ladder? What happens? What if you offer one of those rungs on the ladder is an invitation? What if you offer the right invitation, but at the wrong time and it turns her off? How do we avoid doing that? And lastly, what does it look like when you start putting some automation in your business? And why do many women think that they don't have the time and energy to put some technology into their business to allow them to actually serve their customers even better? Because the technology is now doing some heavy lifting for them so they can spend time where they were destined to spend time with their customers, where God called them to. So, all right. The trust ladder. Okay. Um, but first, even before the trust ladder, let's talk about this customer journey from her perspective. So, a lot of times when I've worked with coaches of my own that I've invested in, or I work with my clients, we talk about what is your customer's journey? And we usually talk about it from our perspective. All right. So I'm going to challenge us right now. If you've never done this before, I want you to think that you are your customer. And so we are looking outside in instead of inside out. Okay. So we're thinking about from her perspective what is going on. This is so crucial to understanding buyer psychology because if I'm not putting myself in my customer's shoes, then I'm walking in my own shoes and expecting her to behave and think as I would. So I need to be thinking about the situation from her perspective. And suddenly my language and my behavior is different because now I'm thinking from her perspective. So the customer journey, for example, customer journey is she sees you posting. You're all probably online businesswomen, or you probably wouldn't be watching this podcast. Okay, so she is or you have a ministry. We still have to be in sales, whether we have a nonprofit, a ministry. Okay, they're still promoting of an idea that you find valuable, that you want people to come and learn about, whether that's going to become a sales transaction or not. Okay, so when we think about from her perspective, so let's go back. We're online business women. How does she first see you? How does she first know you exist? We are not talking about your warm market. Okay. Your warm market, they already know you. Some of them are going to trust you, some of them aren't. Some of them are going to be interested in what you have to offer, some of them aren't. We're not talking about warm market, people who know you. We're talking about people who don't know you. Okay. Because there's only so much of the warm market that is not going to sustain your business. Some of you are like, yeah, I figured that out real fast. Believe it. Me too. So, when someone now doesn't know you at all and they see you post, okay, this is the first time they've seen you. What are they seeing? Okay, what from her perspective? So she hears you speaking her language. It's Acts 22:2. The people in the marketplace started hearing Paul speak Hebrew and they started paying attention. When someone is hearing their language being spoken, they start paying attention. What are some examples, Gail? Okay, so someone's talking about menopause and what menopausal women go through. And guess what? If you're in menopause, you're going to pay attention. All right. What if they're talking about the 5 things menopausal women need to do now to start feeling better? Oh, I'm going to pay attention to that all day long. What if they start talking about the top 3 things menopausal women can do to help them start sleeping better? I'm going to pay attention to that all day long. What if they start saying the top 5 things that menopausal women are doing that are ruining their health? Oh my goodness, what could that be? I'm going to watch that all day long. So the point is, I am speaking her language. I'm speaking to her pain points. What if I say the top 5 things menopausal women need to do, the top 5 mindset shifts menopausal women need to make in order to start loving the stage of menopause that they're in? Oh, well, oh my goodness, who loves menopause? I need to get in there and I need to pay attention to this. Do I have something on my sweater? Don't you just crack up at me? Okay, I don't know what that is, but that's gonna bug me. Oh, look, I just got it off. You guys are like, if you're not watching this on YouTube and you're listening to this, I can't even do it. I'm totally backwards. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. Well, guess what? I'm not editing this out. So it is real and this is real. So let's get back to our menopausal woman and the 5 things that she's going to be pay attention to about wanting to love the stage of she's in, even if it's menopause. I'm going to pay attention to that because what I'm speaking to is at the heart of her pain points and the heart of her some of her biggest fears. Some of her biggest fears are I'm not doing this right. I don't know what I'm doing. I've got these pain points I can't figure out. And what I really want is to be happy with my life. I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to be nagging. I don't want to be irritable and discontent. I want to love my life. I want my kids to see this stage of life as vibrant and full of adventure and vitality, not through, with my Gail, get down from the cross. We need the wood. No, I don't want them to see like, poor me, poor me. Oh, wait till you have to go through this. Wait till you have to do this. Oh, no. I want vibrant life, okay, as a legacy for this half of life. So I am speaking her language. That's the beginning of the customer journey. And it's vital that you are dialed into your right fit people, okay? Let's say you had products that help menopausal women, but they also help perimenopausal. They help 40-year-olds. They help 20-year-olds. Well, if you try to talk to 20-year-olds and 40-year-olds and menopausal women all at the same time, guess what they're going to do? Well, moving on, because you're not going to be able to speak one of their languages in a way that draws her in. So, first step in the customer journey is speaking her language. She's going to see it. Now, she's curious though. She's not going to take any action. She doesn't know you. All right. Do not dare invite her to anything yet because she doesn't know you. But now you can do little tiny things like, did this resonate? Put your hand up if this resonated. If you would like a resource, put your hand up and I'll get you a resource. If you'd like more information on this, put your hand up. So very little, put a heart in the comments, right? Very easy things for her to do. So now we've got our trust ladder out and we're at the very bottom rung. She's just come into contact with you and we need that bottom step to be easy. She's not pulling out her credit card. I don't care if it's $1. She's not pulling out her credit card. She doesn't even know you yet. She's not going to give you her email address yet. She's not going to join your Facebook group or anybody else's Facebook group. She's not going to want to watch a video or meet your upline. No, it's the very bottom rung. Okay. So we've got to be thinking about from her perspective. And then the biggest trust builder is that she sees you again and she sees you again and she sees you again. And guess what's happened? Your message has stayed consistent. You are true to her. You're true to that menopausal woman who's struggling. You're true to providing different value and resources. And sometimes you're laughing about it. Sometimes you tell a story when you're crying about it. You're showing a variety. Sometimes you ask a poll. You have a poll. Sometimes you ask a question. All right. She finds you engaging. She finds you consistent, and the trust is building on the ladder. Now you get to invite her to the next thing. Okay. So this is where in this series, what we're talking about is when you're right, when you have the wrong fit person. Okay. So I'm not going to go too much more into the trust ladder because that's next week. But what I do want to tell you is, if you back to our example of, maybe your products can help people who are in their 20s and your products can help people who are in their 40s. All right. But again, if you're trying to talk to a bunch of people, all right, they're not going to trust what you're doing. You're not going to be able to take them on that customer journey. So the more dialed in to your right fit people. Okay. Now, I had a recent conversation with a client and she's like, but I'm not a menopause expert. I'm not certified in menopause. Girl, you don't have to be. She doesn't care. Well, most women really don't care if you're certified or not. You know what they care about? That you're honest, you're authentic, you're sharing your story with menopause and what has worked for you and what you have seen work for a lot of other people. And if they want to try it, you're going to walk with them and you are trustworthy. You're not just going to take the sale and vanish. You're going to make sure that they have the tools and the resources to make sure that this product is working, that they're getting the best outcome they can get. All right. And so that is our right fit person. Okay. And so if you, let's try it this way. Let's say you have you're speaking to a menopausal woman, all right? And you're speaking to a menopausal woman who wants resources. She wants coaching, she wants new supplements, all right? But let's say you start attracting people who they won't invest. They already are on other supplements, okay? Well, then what happened in your copy is you weren't indicating, you weren't trying to find out early in the process, are you happy with your going through menopause? Is whatever you're using working, right? Because what you're looking for is women who have some need, right? They don't have all of their boxes checked. There's areas of their life that they're struggling with. And that's where you get to come in, give them the products, walk with them in this example. Let's say you had a coaching program for menopausal women, right? You get to invite them in, and then you get to invite them to go on with you, they're going to trust that that group of women is going to be who? Menopausal women. Right. So your right fit people are starting to gather and they are seeing other people like them around your space. And now they're seeing, whether that's in a Facebook group or a workshop that you gave, and now they're seeing, oh, I'm in the right place. Because look at these people are like me. And that's the beauty of having a niche, knowing who your right fit people are, is when you bring them together, you start seeing this community form. This community take shape because they're what they're saying is we are in the same lifeboat and we want to survive this season of menopause and we want to survive it well. So we know we're stronger together. And so we're going to walk with Gail on this journey, but we're going to support each other in the process because we are not alone. All right. Those are your right fit people, and you want to be calling them forward. And as soon as you try to call in a wrong fit person or someone that doesn't fit in that lifeboat, you're going to have to work about 4 times as hard to try to figure out if they belong in the lifeboat, if they want to be in the lifeboat. Okay. So you're only looking for women who go in the lifeboat together, want to be in the lifeboat together. All right. So, right fit people is really huge to your customer journey process because she wants to know that you're dialed in. And I'm going to use this analogy as we wrap up in this particular section. And the analogy is you go on a date and it's a coffee date. It's not a big fancy dinner, not a big worried about what's going to happen at the end. Now we have to go home. None of those things. It's coffee, right? It's in the middle of the day. So low you're on the bottom step of the rung of dating, right? Feels comfortable. This feels safe. All right. I don't know this person yet. And then you get to the dinner and the person, you're having a really nice time, whatever. And then the person says, hey, you know what? We're having this family reunion this weekend. I'd love for you to come and meet my whole family. You'd be like, what? So they miss the boat, right? They're trying to bring you into a situation that you are not ready for. They haven't earned enough trust to invite you to that situation. And that's how our right fit people can be turned off. All right. We're going to be talking about that in much more depth in a later section. But what we want with our right fit people, we want to think about them, pray over them, care for them, and make sure they feel seen, known, and heard all the way through the journey. Okay. Now, your right fit people. I love the menopause example, but I'm going to give one more before we get done here. So your right fit people are usually you and you're just a few months ahead of them or a year ahead of them or 2 years ahead of them, right? So you might be menopausal, but you struggle deeply with it. You found some solutions, mind, body, and spirit, and you now have those solutions, and it is your passion, your God-given calling to walk with those women, right? That's a right fit person. So same with hormones. You could be a thyroid fixer, right? You're dialed in all on thyroid. Does that mean that the only people you can help are menopausal? No. But what we're talking about here is how are they going to all feel in the lifeboat together? Okay. Because if they're not going to get along in that lifeboat, then what you've probably done is you've spread your message out too broad and you're going to have a lot less leads coming in. The more you dial in and you say, I'm for this type of menopausal woman who has this going on and this is happening and I can help her, she's going to pay attention. All right. So right fit people bring a blessing to your business. I think the Lord honors us when we niche because what he's saying is I want you to love them well. In order to love people well, we have to know deeply who they are and what they're struggling with. And I'm sorry, I don't care how good you are, you can't know deeply what the 20-year-old struggling with, what the 40-year-old struggling with, and what the menopausal woman is struggling with. Okay. It's really just not possible. And so then our message gets too vague. And then we're wondering, like, I just want to help anybody. But if you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. So we need to know who our right fit people are so that when the wrong people come forward, we can say, oh, hey, um, this might not be for you, but I know somebody who might have something for you. All right. Or you could say, hey, listen, this is typically who I serve, but if this feels okay to you, if this lifeboat is typically filled with these kind of women, but if you're okay in that lifeboat, come on. We don't kick anybody out of the lifeboat if that's where they want to be. All right. Okay, guys. Looking forward to going to our next episode in our series where we're going to take a deep dive on that trust ladder and talk about what are those things that we can do each rung of the ladder that build trust and bring her closer and much more likely to be in a buyer's mindset. All right, guys.